What's up, everyone? This is like a afterthought intro to this video. I had an intro that I made, but like an idiot, I forgot to put on my lapel, but I had my dongle on my phone, and so it had no audio. So I sat there, did a whole intro, and I went to put it into the editor with no audio, and so here I am making this. But in this video, we're going to cover the starter engagement issue that I had. We're going to cover the UMI mounts, the rubber bushings that I had some issues with, and do the install of the motor back into the car to get it to this point here. So enjoy and comment, subscribe, ask any questions if you like. Peace. All right, guys. So these are the UMI 2329 engine mounts for the LS swapped Camaro. I know it says that these are from 93 to 2004 or something like that, Camaros, but when I called them up and got the kit, well, got the parts sourced for my LS swap 3rd gen Camaro, this is what they sent me. This is what they recommend. It bolts right up and it works great. I've only had these on for about 500 miles on there, and these engine mounts have failed, which I'll show you some pictures right now. I got these bushings out, and I got my replacement bushings. These are the ones that they just sent me. These are the ones that came with these mounts when I ordered these mounts a couple of years ago. This rubber just looks like plastic, cheap, not polyurethane type rubber. I'm not a, a rubber specialist, so I couldn't tell you what this is, but if you look at this, you can clearly see that that is more polyurethane, more durable than the rubber that came in these mounts. So, if you guys are running these engine mounts on your LS swapped Camaros or similar swapped LS cars, I'd recommend taking a look at your engine mounts. Pop one off, see what they look like, see if they've shrunk, the rubber shrunk. You can clearly see that it's just very sort of oblong and sort of deformed. So, but in any case, they were very helpful in getting me replacement bushings really quick, even after 2 years. So these are out of warranty. I called them up and said, hey, I just need to know what's going on. They're like, hey, we'll send some right over to you. So that's very awesome for them. I'm super stoked that I went with them. So I'll get these swapped out and we'll get that going. So I just wanted to show you that so you guys can see what's going on. So if you guys are running these UMI LS swapped 2329 engine mounts, check them out. Make sure that they are using the better polyurethane bushings, man, because mine, less than 500 miles, and you saw what they look like. So take a look at them, pop one off, see what you got. I'm not sure if UMI is going to replace everybody's, but I would hope they would. But hey, what do I know? So we're getting ready to put on my clutch here, and so I'm just prepping the crank and just cleaning out the bolts, make sure everything's ready for install. I am running the Tremont T56, and they do want you to index your bell housing. And what that means is you got to get a plate, and I have the index plate off to see if I can dig it up. But you put the index plate onto the bell housing, and then you got to make sure to see what the runoff is on the crank to the index plate. And you got to install these dowel pins that are adjustable. So I'll show you those right now. So these are offset dowel pins, and so you can get them in different offsets. I don't remember which these were, but basically what you do is you put the dowel pin in, and then you can adjust what the offset is by moving this around. And there's a set screw in there. I don't know if you can see that. And basically what it does is it just moves the dowel pin around until you get it where you want it to be. Same thing on this side. So what it basically does is it just centers, you can center your bell housing as close as possible to the center of the crank. So Tremec has a specification of how much runoff you should be allowed to use. Otherwise, if you're over that, I'm sure you're getting vibration, premature wear on the input shaft and bearings, things like that. So that's just kind of what I did. Alright guys, so I got the flywheel installed. I also got the starter installed. Now again, this is the Speedway Motors house brand mini starter that that I got from them, right? So this is the one that's for the LS. This is a standard tooth, 168 tooth LS flywheel. And so I have it installed and I have it torqued. Well, I don't have it torqued down, but I have it pretty cinched down enough to where it is actually very tight up against the block. I mean, it's on there pretty well. So I'm going to show you the engagement that I got. So here you can clearly see how far away those teeth are from the flywheel. I mean, you can fit a couple paper clips in there. And again, this is the factory sized flywheel, 168 tooth. So yeah, I mean, you can clearly see this thing is just wide open. And there's no way to get this any more closer to the flywheel because you'd have to machine this block right here to get it closer to the block to get it closer to the flywheel. So that's a bummer. So yeah, Speedway Motors in-house mini starter clearly is not correct, or at least for my engine. This is a Gen 4 LY6 center force flywheel, 168 tooth count, so I think it's still the same size as a factory. Again, the only way to get this thing closer to the flywheel is to machine this block here, which I'm not going to do because I don't have a mill. So anyways, I'm going to get the other starter on there and see what that looks like. Alright, here we are with the Powermaster starter, and the engagement seems better, but I think it's still a little loose. I don't know, but this is 035. Actually, this is 038. And it's loose in there. I can definitely move it around. And if I move it over to this one here, it's definitely a lot more looser in there. So I'm not sure how they expect us to shim this out or shim this in anymore, but I can't unless I mill this, right? So I cannot get that any more closer to the flywheel unless I mill the block, or not the block, but the block for the starter, not the engine block. So what to do, what to do. All right, so here we are. I got the center force twin disc, the SST. I got the flywheel on. I was able to index, well, not index, but I was able to align my flywheel to the pinion. I'll talk about that when I get to the starter next. So I went ahead and got the starter aluminum body here milled. I found a CNC shop here in Peoria, Arizona, and met the guy. The guy was really cool. He took it, put it into a CNC machine, and milled it down 20 thousandths off the top here. And that actually worked really well. I checked my engagement. My engagement is 025 to 035, which is within the spec from what they're saying that needs to be. And it worked well. So I ended up getting this milled. I went ahead and ordered from UMI Performance a steel alignment tool. So that way I can get it aligned, because a twin disc, if you don't align the twin disc properly, then you'll never get that transmission on. It just won't happen. So, all right, so I decided not to do a time lapse, and I decided that I'm going to show you guys how I'm going to put this clutch together, or how this clutch goes together. And so we have our alignment tool. We have our clutch, our first clutch disc. So that goes here. Then we have our center plate or middle plate, which needs to be aligned with the flywheel. This has been balanced. This whole package has been balanced. So see, this red mark right here needs to line up with this red mark right here. So the first clutch pack, first the center plate, second clutch, and then the top goes on. And again, the top has the red mark right there, which has to line up with there. So let's see if I can get this together. So like that. And you gotta give it a little persuasion. Just tap it on. Alright, make sure this is centered. Sorry if my knee gets in the way. Alright, well, while I was off camera getting the Loctite, my flashlight, which is this guy right here, my Harbor Freight Special, that I modified with some real batteries and a real charge controller, fell over and knocked over my camera, and then took out my wireless microphone adapter for my lapel microphone. So now I don't have a microphone, so I'm gonna have to rely on the camera capturing the audio. So put these on. So I found that you need to hold this in place, put a little pressure on there, otherwise it wants to droop. And you can see the play there, so I like to push it in and make sure that the face of this is pushed up nice and tight against the bearing, so that way you know that you are centered as best as possible. And that's how you get the clutch on. So I'm going to go through and torque these down, and alright, we're going to go to 55 foot-pounds on these in a starter pattern. And that's it. Clutch is on. I hope I can get my transmission in and get this thing back in the car. Alright, it's Saturday, the weekend before Christmas. Trying to get this thing slammed back in to the Camaro. So I got the transmission mounted up. It all worked. It all went right into the clutch that I installed. Stoked about that. And so got it on a cherry picker, getting ready to drop it into the Camaro. Here it is in all its glory. Got the new mounts installed with the actual polyurethane bushings. Tremec T56 short ratio from American Powertrain, and they gave me this White Lightning shifter kit, and that's pretty much it. So we're gonna drop this in now. All right, so I got the motor installed. It's mounted in, it's bolted up, cross members up. It looks pretty good. So I'm gonna finish off this video right now, and again, our condolences to the Biff family and all the other families involved. Breaks our hearts to see what happened, and we're gonna do it for Biff. Peace out.